Please be extremely loud about getting rid of this. Let's go through this. Apparently, this is the producer U's letter to everybody, since we're basically 1 day away from the last day of phase 1 of alpha of the pioneer test. So let's read it. Let's see if we get some good news. Hello adventures, it's me again, you, the producer who's been burning midnight oil on design docs while getting roasted on Discord. It's been over a month since my first letter to you all. Back then, I said that the team was excited yet anxious. Well, nothing has changed. I'm still the same you. Grateful yet stressed, touched yet guilty, happy yet a little stomach achy, yada yada yada. Okay. I'm writing this because our Pioneer Test Phase 1 is about to wrap up. September 13th, Saturday, will be the final open day of this round. And I have a lot more I want to say before we close this chapter. First of all, thank you for being willing to walk this imperfect journey with RO3. Thank you for this is one feels just like RO again. I mean, graphics and music-wise, sure, maybe somebody would have said that, but all right, let's keep going. And thank you for what kind of nonsense is this? Fix it. The praise brightened my whole day. The criticism sent us into emergency late night meetings. And honestly, we've received both in plenty. Do you remember what we said in the very first letter? That this test was an imperfect gift. That was truly the mindset we had going in. What really moved us, though, was that you came, you played, and you left so much heartfelt feedback, whether encouragement or critique. We've taken note of it all. We also clearly saw many shortcomings, and yes, we really are reflecting on them. Too few friend codes, unclear distribution rules, unbalanced guild lead matchmaking, 10-player dungeons that were hard to form groups for and tough to communicate in, limited content overall. We've been hearing it. Every day is meetings, every day is optimization, and going forward, we're also considering adjustments to the test model. Some plans aren't finalized yet, so I don't want to make any empty promises, but believe this, we are listening. We are also trying to be more transparent with communication. They do need to be way more transparent as well. They do listen because, I mean, you see it because they respond to it, right? So actions-wise, like, you do see that they're listening. I mean, actually acting upon like what they've heard and what they've listened and read is another thing, obviously, that we'll see in the later like tests, right? But at the very least, we can see them actively. Like, you can actively see them respond to like all the criticism, all the changes that are being requested, all that. So in that front, I give them props. Whether those things are acted upon, we will wait and see. We'll be doing these things like monthly producer letters, meet the producers sessions, maybe even live streams where I take criticism head on. I said I like to draw big pies, empty promises. So hey, I'll just serve them to you fresh on stream. Maybe they'll do a dev interview finally. We'll see. I'll be honest with you. I think I intimidate a lot of devs, a lot of producers. I've done a few dev interviews, and I mean, I warn them in advance, right? Like, I don't really like. I ask the questions that people want to know. And a lot of the times, those are the very hard questions that are hard to answer. Because the truth might kill the hype. Maybe we're not doing it well enough yet, but please give us some time. The team really does take advice to heart. We'll keep building Ragnarok Online 3 together with you, polishing it into a game that truly belongs to us. So if something feels off, just vent at me directly on Discord. Don't hold back, otherwise my stomach medicine will go to waste. The motto here, we listen. And that's true, they do listen. And again, whether they act upon what they hear and read is another, is a whole nother topic that we'll find out as, development goes. Our responses to key feedback. Friend code distribution. Too few codes. Guilty as charged. Our first round server was really limited. There was no intention of playing scarcity games. It was purely a technical cap, which makes sense. For the next test, we'll be releasing tens of times more slots. Our engineers are already glaring at me, like, stop promising random numbers. Also, yes, the memes were hilarious. I've saved a bunch. They've even become a running joke in our office. The Mr. U memes were the biggest like community thing. The lottery felt shady. We'll make the rules public going forward. How is it shady? Like, they were just doing random. With priority for survey participants and veteran RO players. That still won't fix the core issue, that the code pool in this round was way too small, but in phase 2, the much larger distribution should ease the problem, which is good because, I think they're going to be going for like War of Imperium or something. which will need a lot more players. All right. Pay to win concerns from day one of this project. Holy shit, the clown emojis. We will never let paying players stomp the battlefield 1 versus 100. What about 1 versus 99, bro? Is 100 the cap or something? That kind of nonsense ruins both balance and dignity. Okay. It insults the skill and passion of all adventurers. This isn't about monthly passes or free-to-play models. It's about whether we as devs can resist the temptation to cash grab. For us, user experience is the creed. Payment should be the result of joy, love, and excitement, not the punishment for being underpowered. If we ever forget this, please come knock on my door on Discord. I'll be the first to riot. Yeah, I mean, but like you could riot all you want, but if it's pay to win, it's still pay to win, right? Like we need like an assurance that it is definitely not going to be pay to win. Like there will never be, pay for power, and if there is any way, shape, or form that you can pay for power, that nothing is gated for the regular players. The danger too is that the moment that you have quote unquote pay to win in any way, shape, or form in your game, you automatically lose a huge chunk of the player base, right? Because we've been through it all, right? Like when BDO first started, they also said like, "Hey, no pay to win," and then a couple months into the game, boom, pay to win. Right? So we weren't born yesterday. We've been through it all. Content and gameplay. This test didn't have enough content. True. But your feedback on dungeons, guild leagues, combat flow, quest pacing, we didn't really quest here. It's all in our hands. Next test will bring a fuller, smoother experience. Quest pacing. Mr. Yu, did you chat GPT this? There was no questing in the game, in the Pioneer test. Alright, not a good sign. Nostalgia versus innovation. Our Ragnarok Online 3 isn't a remake, it's a continuation. A next-gen RO for adventurers. We want to preserve that original RO magic, but also shape it for today's players. I get it. Every veteran has their own true RO in their heart. No. There's not every veteran has a true RO in their heart. Looking at a game and identifying why it's successful doesn't come in multiple versions. You look at a game, you identify every single part that made it good, whether it's going to be the PvE content, the PvP content, the GVG content, the life skills, all that stuff, right? That's how you identify what made a game good. And it's when you look at RO1, it's very clear how that is, and it's very clear to see how that works in today's market still. BDO being one of the best example, and like more recently, and also another in alpha test right now, Spirit Veil. There's a reason why it's as fun as it is, and there's a reason why people play it, even though there's so little advertisement. Actually, it's not even like little. There's zero advertisement for it, and people enjoy it, right? If you phrase it in this way, you're leaving it too open-ended. Some is chatting at the south gates, some live for GBG blood rushes, some just like zoning out in Glassheim. I did that too. That's why we brought you in this early, despite the risks and complaints, because from the core systems on up, we want to co-create with you. Ragnarok Online 3 should never be a launch, cash grab, shut down, disposable game. It should be our promise for the next 20 years. I mean, there's very clear ways for it to be a promise and be something that is relevant for the next 20 years at least. But I'll be completely honest with you, right now, like my current impressions is that the devs don't seem to understand what made RO1 good, and the fact that they could just build up from that. It doesn't have exactly. It's not a remake. It's a continuation, right? Because like you're supposed to, at this point in time, know what made it fun, know what made it good, and then continue from there. Like what RO1 was lacking, which was very clear what it was lacking, right? It's like it's a lot of QL stuff, a lot of limitations in the previous engine that they used, and it's so easily identifiable as to what you can do, right? So it still kind of like boggles my mind how that is confusing and how that's still a mystery. Because a solo dev just was able to capture that in one alpha of their game. Guild League and 10-player dungeon. Guild League matchmaking was a joke. Understood. The problem came from the low population in this Pioneer test, which is true. Some guilds had too many, some had too few, some had none. In future tests, with more adventurers joining, this will improve. Matchmaking balance will continue to be a top focus. 10-player teams were hard to form. Communication sucked, and there was no voice. That one's on us. Voice chat, auto translation, friend systems will absolutely be there in the official version. We'll also improve the party goal markers so you can find reliable allies and not silent strangers. I don't know. Guild League stuff, right? I feel like every content creator was given a responsibility to I don't know if everybody got the same email as I did, but I was tasked to build and manage a guild in the testing, and I did just that. So if I can do that, there should be no excuse as to why other people can't. You know what I mean? Daily quests feel like chores. Got it. Fixed. Ragnarok Online 3 should keep you because it's fun, not because it feels like a job. Some tasks are still necessary for design reasons. Here's a new plan. Quick, light tasks equals stay in daily. Time-consuming modes like 10-player dungeon move to weekly. Play them whenever you want. Our guiding principle: light dailies, heavy fun, no needless grind. Grind is good. No needless grind, like mob grinding is good. If you're looking for like rares. My biggest worry about RO3 is the fact that like a lot of the stuff that you need to progress is in dungeons, so you have to do it. It would be good to make dungeons like, you know, good, like efficient progression, yes, but there's no way that you played RO1 and you don't remember the satisfaction that you got when you grind for something and then you finally get it. Whether it's a card, whether it's like slotted shoes from like Moonox or something like that, right? And you get that steady progression. You get the first pair of shoes, then you get it to +4. You put like a decent card in it, and then that's gonna carry you for like a little, like for quite a while. And then you work on getting a +7 like shoes, or you go for it immediately, and then you use that for a very, very, very long time, because like there's really no pressure to get beyond +7. If you had a full +7 set, then you were battle ready, right? That was technically like the soft gap in the game at the time, right? Again, this is my worry. It's like, yeah, we're modernizing it, but the thing is, like, even the way that they worded it, a continuation, which means that you're gonna be building off of RO1, what made it good, and then build upon that, because that's already a very solid foundation that you know for a fact it's been tested through and through again that it works, even in the old IP with Ragnarok 1, and even with the new IPs, or relatively new IPs like Black Desert Online, and even more like future IPs like Spirit Veil for one. It's just it makes no sense that you don't understand this if you even played RO1 back in the day, right? Number 7, is equipment rating secretly a power ranking system? You lied. Nope, we will never have a power leaderboard. Equipment rating is just a quick reference to compare equipment. High rating does not equal OP. Low rating does not equal noob. This is true. The true charm of RO is in combination and strategy, not stat walls. There's a stat wall in the game. There's a heavy stat wall in the game. There's a reason why I have, on an alpha, I have a gear check for members that join the guild and join our guild league, because there is a stat wall. There's a huge stat gap. Somebody who doesn't have full reso is gonna get gatted by somebody who does have full reso. Like a non-full reso Synex or GX fighting my warlock with full reso is gonna get destroyed. Like I had GXs run away from me in guild league because I was gapping them. That shouldn't happen. We'll improve the descriptions so it feels like suggestions, not requirements. But yeah, I agree that like high rating does not equal OP, because like, yeah, you need to look at your if you're a magic user and you had a special skill on your armor, and it actually gave you physical attack instead of magic attack, and it does give you high rating because of that, and you use it, then you know it's a bad idea. Already changing for real. Card level up is gone, deleted, buried. I swear on my receding hairline, you'll never see it again. Field monster respawns. Switching to scattered ecosystem like RO Online, not fixed points. Hallelujah. Because like if they continue to do this, I mean honestly, if certain fields had concentrated spots, that would have been fine, right? That's completely okay. That way there's spots for AoE builds and there's spots for like single target builds, right? But this is also really good. Daily task overhaul. Light dailies, heavy stuff move to weeklies. It's like why are we for why do we have to force dailies? Why can't we have RO1 worked incredibly well because it was a sandbox MMO. You logged into RO1, it didn't matter what you did. There was no pressure. Because all dailies and all these weeklies, right? Granted, if it's only the dungeons for weeklies, that's completely fine. That's easy peasy. But like, why are we why are we forcing dailies to be a thing? If the fact that you're lessening the dailies already tells you that it's a bad idea, get rid of that shit. Like oh my god, man. Like why is it why is oh man, it makes zero sense to me at all. Like there's no scenario where dailies and making your game feel like a chore to your player base is ever like a good thing. The fact that you had to lighten the dailies already tells you it's a bad thing. Don't keep it. Remove it. Let players progress the way that they want to progress. Because like the moment that you have those dailies, the moment that you have that stuff, like and the moment that people, go on vacation or do whatever, and like where they whatever happens that they can't do their dailies, they automatically feel like they're behind. They feel bad that they're behind, and also not only that, but they're also gonna feel like, oh man, it feels good not being, not needing to log into a game. It's like, there's like the people that quit games, like let's say like with dailies, like gacha games, they quit because no matter if the dailies themselves only take like 5, 10, 15 minutes, the moment that something starts feeling like a chore, it doesn't matter if it only takes you 10 minutes to do it. Like sometimes you just want to log in and chill. You just want to log in and relax. Like enjoy the game, enjoy the world that was built, hang out with your guildies, do whatever you want to do with your guildies to progress. All right? I don't know, man. Maybe one day, a miracle will happen and devs will finally understand that dailies are shit. 10-player dungeon, auction time shortened. That's good. Chat window revamp. No more bland mobile game chat. Hallelujah. Next time, it'll feel lively, social, and full of tags like the one you remember. Guild League, party colors, clear distinction between party member in Guild League and party member in small scale party, and more tweaks, all safely logged in our team's death note. This is good because the one thing that you definitely had a lot of trouble with is that there was no clear distinction of who your party members were out in the open. You kind of had to like rely on the party window and see if they're away or not, and visually see if they're around you, right? Which is hard to do in a huge clusterfuck, which is basically Guild League, and especially in War of Imperium. Features not yet open in this test, but planned ahead. Seasonal system, we know about that. More build diversity tied to seasons. Why do they have to be tied to seasons? Solo paths to obtain remnant echoes. I feel like this RO doesn't know if it wants to be an ARPG or an MMORPG like RO1. Solo paths to obtain remnant echoes. New server ecosystem, still experimental, but the goal is to make the world feel busier, livelier, and more fun. Server ecosystem system. Large scale GVG. A large scale GVE. Now this one I'm interested in. Like being able to do like something massive with your guild that's like a GVE. All right. Well, let's see. A large scale GVG, again, War of Imperium. Also looking forward to that. Voice chat. Multilingual translation, UI customization, hallelujah. Smarter 10-player dungeon party formation tips, free PvP zones. Like the like old R1, like Yo-Yo. Control scheme upgrades, plus full custom options. Control scheme upgrades. Elemental effectiveness, they kind of nerfed it a little bit here. At most it was like 5%. High efficiency autumn. All right. Hotly debated features. Yes, we've seen these requests, but we're still arguing them. Of course, adventurers keep asking loudly enough. We'll add them to our debate list. Please, if you're watching this video, please be very loud with getting rid of this. Please be extremely loud about getting rid of this. Batch crafting, animation skip. We know you want to save time. But since equipment crafting is such a high value action, we're being very cautious about making it too quick and mindless. Still under discussion. No, don't remove this. Yeah, don't do batch crafting. Well, I mean, you could give it as an option to people, sure, but like that's under the impression that you're gonna give so much like the RNG is gonna be so bad, and the materials are gonna be handed out so much that it requires batch crafting. That's bad game design. Small stack gaps between equipment rarities. Yes, that's intentional. This is our core anti-pay-to-win philosophy. If red equipment had huge stat advantages, it would basically force people to pay. RO3's equipment is about build diversity and fun, not raw stat stomping. So this basically confirms that there is going to be a form of pay-to-win. But a whale that whales out maybe Zenny or something and then buys the red equipment in the market, assuming that the free-to-play players don't build up enough currency already, for example, which means that they can buy more and more red equipment than the others, like free-to-play players or low-spending players, right? And they can keep gambling those so that they can have higher. So it's still going to be an advantage. Like, bro, like here's the thing: the difference between somebody who has yellow with special skills on their equipment versus somebody who doesn't is already pretty substantial. That's from experience, by the way. The advantage of somebody with red equipment, if they spam it enough to get special skills on all of them, is going to be a huge advantage. That is a ginormous advantage. Granted, that advantage isn't going to last that long because depending on how easy it is to get red equipment and yellow, people are going to catch up eventually. So it's not the biggest thing. But in terms of like 1v1s, which barely happens in RO anyway, because everybody has a role they play, it definitely will make a huge difference. It won't make a huge enough difference for somebody to be able to maybe like 1v2, 1v3, but it's a big enough difference where if you have a full guild min-maxing and pumping like red equipment or even yellow equipment with special skills, they're gonna giga stomp the other guild. But again, it is a lot less egregious than Rue. So, there's that. Resetting affixes on equipment. This one sparks the fiercest arguments. Resetting would reduce player trading and interaction. We want to encourage a lively market and social exchange. Equipment in RO3 is tradable, and in the future, some trade house items will move into stall items. Our stall engineer has already lost another strand of hair. Okay, this is good. That means you can actually trade with your guildies, your friends, so that's good. Again, the only thing is RMT is gonna run rampant because this is why this is a danger, right? If you make it so the game has auto, that means that you cannot possibly have anything of value drop in the open world, especially if you have no combat time, right? And combat time aspect sucks as well, because then people will have hundreds of accounts auto farming on the open world if there's anything substantial out there at all to be able to farm and trade an RMT. And if somebody decides to use let's say a bot program similar to OpenCore, which uses a lot less resources on your PC, like my PC, I could probably launch like 50 to 100 of those, and since if there's auto, I can have that auto and I could run like 50 or so instances of that and let it farm for me, and nobody would know the difference. They're skirting a very, very, very dangerous line here of number one, making the open world irrelevant, and number two, all of that can be resolved by removing auto. The fact that there's still people who don't understand how damaging auto is to any game and the amount of issues it creates in terms of game design boggles my mind. Completely boggles my mind. And I get it. And again, I'll piss as many people off as I have to. I don't give a fuck. I could care less. Auto is lazy. Auto combat, auto grinding is lazy design. It's not just a lazy aspect in terms of like on the side of the players that want it, but it's also lazy design, and it is incredibly damaging to the economy. That's just it. I will debate anybody. If anybody feels so strongly that auto is a good thing, I invite you to hop on Discord with me and let's have this discussion, and we'll go toe to toe, point for point, on why auto is bad, on why I think auto is bad and horrible and damning and basically is a one-way ticket to killing your game. And you can tell me why it's good without telling me that like, oh, I just don't want to grind, aka I don't want to play the game that I'm playing. People like seeing numbers go up, simple as that. Well, I don't like seeing games go down, and I'm sure the companies don't like that either. Same reasoning as above with resetting Remnant Echo stats. Yeah, I mean it's a Gamba part of the game that's not like as egregious as like old school BDO, right? So it's not too bad. What I really want to emphasize is my philosophy: payment should always be the result, not the goal. Players spend when they're happy, when they want to support the team, when they love a cool outfit, not because they're forced to. But if we begin by designing around payment, I personally feel that's missing the point. That's why our priority is always to first deliver the content we believe is fun, something that can bring joy to everyone. What I hope for most is that we can discuss the game itself with you, not just its payment systems. Yeah, but we want to know what the monetization is though. Like that's like the biggest thing for us. It's like I get that you don't want to discuss it, and I completely understand why not, right? Because it's not good for you. But we do want to know about the monetization. Guild League timing. We know late night events don't work for everyone. If enough players complain about it, we'll add it to our internal debates. Right now, we're closely watching community feedback. Here's the thing. There's one way that you can resolve this, by the way. The whole Guild League timing. The problem is like because the way that they want to do it, they want to do it in like a tournament setting, right? And if you want to do a tournament setting, something like that, it has to be on a schedule. It has to be 100% on a schedule. But if you really want to do like Guild League, you could do a node war system, right? You could do a node war system where people and guilds can declare if they want to do the PvP, and there's going to be a lot of guilds that want to do the PvP. Is what you can do is you can have a declaration system on certain nodes where you could have tier 1 nodes, and this is since they say that they want to bridge the gap between like new players, all that, and like veteran players, right? So that like new players that come into the game don't feel like they're super behind. They could do a tier system for a node system, right? So tier 1, basically, let's say like there's a gear cap or stack cap for tier 1. Tier 1, like people can only have max of like X amount of P attack, X amount of M attack, X amount of HP, and it's low enough that somebody or a new player that started the game like on the first day can have all of the tutorial gear and all that and seasonal gear to be able to join those wars, right? And they can have their own tier 1, and then tier 2 could be like a little bit higher cap, and then after tier 2 you can make it into uncapped, where all the veteran guilds and players are playing, and you can make it so they have better rewards. But the better rewards are not hurting or making the new players feel behind, because again, they don't care, because they can just do tier 1 guild leagues or tier 2 guild leagues on the days that their guild can make it. So that way every guild can just decide like, hey, you know what, we're only going to be doing guild leagues on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays, Saturdays. That's it. Those are the days that we're doing, right? And they can queue for those every day, and they have substantial enough rewards that it makes it worth doing for them. That's the way that you can do it. If you really want to resolve the whole scheduling of like Guild League timing, then yeah, you just can't do a tournament setting. You can if you want to, but it's not going to resolve this problem if you're trying to do that. Right? You have to do a node war system that will resolve scheduling, and you have to do a tier system if you want to resolve the scaling issues with new players and old players. That system resolves all of your issues, and that makes it so even if somebody works like 5 days a week, at a certain schedule that conflicts with like the regular timing, let's say like all the guild nodes the node wars are on a specific day, which is like, or a specific hour, like they say like 8 p.m. EST or something like that. And working people that work night shifts cannot make that on like Monday to Friday, but they're off Saturday, Sunday. So, they could join a guild, or they could tell their guild like, hey, I can participate on the Saturday and Sunday node wars. Completely fine, right? Problem solved. The only other thing that they need to do as well is they can't have such high number of participation on it. I know that they have the main battlefield right now, right, which is 40 people already, by the way, which is a lot. Like, if you think about it, it's a lot of people, but they're also going to have a sub battlefield. I don't think they should do a sub battlefield, because sub battlefield is essentially the rest of your guild, right? So what that does is, because having more people increases your chances of winning, guilds will always want to go in there with more people, right? So if each guild has a max of like 100 members, 40 members in main battlefield and 60 in sub battlefield, and you're forced to do it every time as like the full like 60. Otherwise, if you get outnumbered, you're gonna lose. Whereas, like, if it was just a main battlefield and there's a cap of like 40 players, right? Your guild, with the 100 members it is, instead of like needing to bring the full guild, now you can have a Monday roster. You can have a Tuesday roster. You can have a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday roster. And you don't have to fill the whole 100 every single time if you have main battlefield and sub battlefield. You only need to fill 40, which is way easier, and easier for guild management as well to bring those numbers. And then the guilds can manage it on their own. They could be like, okay, since like we want to make sure that everybody gets to experience Guild League as well. If you haven't experienced Guild League yet this week, then you get priority. If you've done Guild League like 3-4 times this week, then you might need to take like you might have to bow this one out or something like that, because so and so can only be available on Saturday, Sunday, right? So that's like one of the things that they can do, 100%, right? And yeah, that's the thing. If you're forcing people to always need 100% of their guild attendance, otherwise they just lose through numbers. Nobody feels good losing because of numbers. It sucks even more if you almost won, if you had less numbers, but you lost because you just couldn't bring the numbers. Because it's hard to have. I'm not even gonna say it's hard. It's impossible. It's impossible to consistently have the entire guild roster for any number of guilds beyond the hardcore competitive guilds to be able to bring in enough people for a full roster every fight. Otherwise, they lose. And if they keep losing because they just can't bring the whole 100, then they're gonna stop doing it, and it's gonna be dead content, right? So you have to adapt a roster system. You can't force people to always bring the entire 100, or otherwise they just cede control of sub battlefield. You know what I mean? And not only that, but it's also a good break for people that, maybe just don't feel like doing Guild League that day. There's a lot of really good ways to resolve this, and easy ways to do this and resolve this, right? You just need to know or have played enough MMORPGs to know what works and what doesn't. And luckily for me, that's my job. The death count in Guild League battle reports. We intentionally left this out. Imagine a new adventurer dying 10 times and then being publicly executed by the report. That's just cruel. We'd rather highlight moments of glory. That said, we understand guild leaders need data. So we're considering a system where only leaders can view detailed death stats, still under careful discussion. I think that people who want to compete want to know how bad they did. And for the people that are casual or don't care, they could have 3x their deaths versus kills, and they probably still wouldn't care as long as they enjoyed. Showing guild names in Guild League battles. The battlefield is already visually crowded. We're afraid more text will just overwhelm. For now, guild names won't be shown in battle scenes. Yeah, no, you do need show guild names in guild battles. What the hell? It's a 1v1. The other team's red, you're blue. Skillbar with only 6 slots. Right now, 3rd job skills plus 1 buff slot equals just enough. But if jobs get more complex in the future, we'll expand the bar. Or here's the thing. The Skill slots didn't feel enough, and the skills that we were able to use were already limited. We probably had only half of our kit in the test, and 6 bars or 6 slots didn't feel enough. How much more when we actually have full access to our full kit? Left click to move. We actually had this in an early version, but doing a misclicks during tests forced us to remove it. Still enough players want it. We can bring it back. You can just make it into a setting. Classic grid-based movement. We tried it. It was clunky. Also, grids prevented us from designing many boss skills like pan-shaped AoEs. Yeah, no, you don't need the classic grid-based movement. Grid-based movement is going to make too many things clunky. Level 99 aura effect, we get it. You want to look cool, but in a chaotic GVG brawl, it would be pure light pollution. So sadly, no flash or slash effect, bro. Have you played RO1? But we'll add clear, more stylish honor markers in the future. Checkbox. Turn off aura. Click it for GVGs. Coming next, in-game features. Large scale, GVG, strategic. A brand new 5-player dungeon. This is going to be War of Imperium most likely. Stall system, aka the Vend. Relive the Southgate Market chat days. This one, I know some people don't like it, but I don't care. I want it. I want to see it. I want to go window shopping in Frontera, bro. And find some good deals. Possible next test starting from level 1 for a full gameplay experience. This is going to be huge. This is going to be huge. And plenty of tweaks from our community Death Note list. Co-creation meetings after Pioneer test ends will hold real discussions. Adventurers can vote for regional community reps to join dev talks, track progress, and even join offline events. Travel costs included. Time for me to argue with finance again. RO Story Collection, 8,000 Days and Nights. What was yours? RO has given us countless magical memories. This will be an ongoing event where we gather your stories and share them on official channels. We want the world to know RO isn't just a game. It's our shared youth. I like that. I actually genuinely do want to hear people's stories. Like, I always enjoy hearing people's RO stories, bro, because it's always some wild shit that happened back in the day. About the next test. Honestly, I can't give you a firm date yet. If the programmers see me make promises, their blood pressure will spike again. Many systems are still simmering. We can't serve you half-cooked stew. But don't worry, I'll still be camping on Discord, taking your feedback, chatting, collecting memes, and the moment there's news, you'll hear me shouting first. Making promises isn't my brand, delivering them is. I may not be the best letter writer, clumsy words, slow optimizations. Sorry, bro, I know with these right here that ChatGPT wrote this, it's okay. There's no shame in that. But I treasure every chance to talk with you. I've never been more certain Ragnarok Online 3 must be built together with you. This isn't just our project. It's a world that belongs to every adventurer. You criticize, we correct. You suggest, we debate. You encourage, and we're quietly moved. Before staying up all night coding again. The Pioneer test is just the beginning. This short farewell is only a pause, so we can meet again better. Next time we see each other, it will be closer to the RO in both your heart and mine. It better be. This isn't goodbye. It's just the next save point. Until we meet again, adventurers, you.